Mosquito-borne illnesses are making headlines this year. In Massachusetts, towns are closing public parks and outdoor spaces after discovering that local mosquitoes are carrying Eastern equine encephalitis, a rare but serious virus. Plus, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the former leading infectious disease expert in the U.S., was recently hospitalized due to West Nile virus, which he reportedly got from a mosquito in his own backyard. So, is this year particularly rough for disease-carrying mosquitoes in the U.S.? And what should we anticipate moving forward? Why mosquitoes pose such a significant risk? Mosquitoes are known to transmit various viruses and parasites that can be harmful to humans, including malaria, dengue, yellow fever, chikungunya, West Nile virus, and Eastern equine encephalitis. Different mosquito species are skilled at spreading different diseases. The species that mainly spreads Eastern equine encephalitis, Culiseta melanura, has been in the spotlight lately due to the severity of the illness. However, fewer than 6 cases have been reported in the U.S. this year, which is pretty typical for New England, according to Dr. James Shepard, an infectious disease expert at Yale University School of Medicine. Even with local authorities taking significant measures by closing public spaces, the infection rates this year don't appear to be any higher than in previous years. The type of mosquito that raises the most alarm is actually the most common one, according to Shepard. Mosquitoes from the Aedes family are responsible for a majority of global diseases like malaria, dengue, yellow fever, West Nile, and Zika. They thrive in urban areas with high populations and can breed in surprisingly small amounts of water. Just a little capful can hold hundreds of mosquito eggs. With around 80% of the global population now living in cities, Shepard points out that we're clustering ourselves in much denser environments alongside these urban mosquitoes. Looking at the West Nile virus, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention report that 38 states have already logged over 370 cases in 2024. Last year saw more than 2,500 cases across the country, nearly double the number from 2022. Experts highlight that the number of cases can vary based on mosquito populations and how often humans come into contact with them. The threat of mosquito-borne diseases is expected to rise as mosquito numbers increase. Dr. Fotini Sinis, a professor and deputy director at the Malaria Research Institute at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, explains, data shows that as mosquito populations grow, the chances of humans encountering an infected mosquito also rise. Even though only a small percentage of mosquitoes carry infections, a larger population means a higher likelihood of those encounters. Sinis adds that mosquito populations are heavily influenced by climate and habitat. With global warming, mosquitoes are finding it easier to survive in more regions and for longer periods. The warmer climate also allows them to have more breeding cycles, leading to an increase in their numbers like never before. Jonathan Oliver, an associate professor at the University of Minnesota's School of Public Health, points out that climate change is causing the habitats of concerning species like Aedes mosquitoes to shift northward. He notes, all predictions suggest that these mosquitoes will spread throughout the southeast, up the eastern seaboard, and even further north into the Midwest. As these species establish themselves, people may face exposure to a variety of diseases they transmit. Take dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and West Nile virus as examples. Shepard mentions that due to warmer winters over the last decade, the mosquito species responsible for these diseases, A. albopictus, is now breeding year-round in Connecticut. We're going to witness these infections moving into more temperate areas of the U.S., he adds. Sinis explains that milder winters allow surviving mosquitoes to start reproducing earlier, in early spring instead of waiting until summer. If it's only really cold in January and February, they can begin breeding in March rather than April or May, she says. Each breeding cycle can boost the population by 10 times, so by summer their numbers can skyrocket. Warmer temperatures also influence how viruses survive and thrive within these insects. Oliver explains, if it's warmer for a longer period, mosquitoes remain active longer, which impacts their biology. A warmer environment allows the virus to replicate more quickly inside the mosquito, shortening the time between infection and when the mosquito can spread the virus. Research indicates that mosquitoes can become more infectious as the season progresses, increasing the likelihood of them biting and transmitting diseases to people. Urban growth and crowded cities, especially those with poor sewage and sanitation systems, create ideal conditions for mosquitoes to breed and thrive. Shepard points out that urbanization is happening in a chaotic way across the globe. Often there's no proper planning or community development, leading to large slum areas that lack basic services like water, sewage, and electricity. These environments are prime spots for the spread of infectious diseases. Another reason for the increase in mosquitoes is the loss of natural habitats due to urban expansion, which reduces biodiversity. Shepard explains that as certain species decline, more adaptable ones like mosquitoes can take over. With fewer insect species around, adaptable ones like Aedes can fill the gaps and grow in numbers. To avoid mosquito bites, it's best to steer clear of them whenever possible. If you do go outside, wear long sleeves and use insect repellent. Also, make sure to eliminate any standing water near your home, as mosquitoes only need a small amount of water to breed. Researchers are exploring various methods to cut down mosquito populations, like using traps that lure different species with specific scents. These traps are filled with larvicides that eliminate any eggs laid by mosquitoes, helping to keep their numbers in check. However, creating these traps requires a deeper understanding of the various species and how to attract them, which is still lacking according to Sinis. We really want to predict when and where mosquito populations will spike, she explains. But we need to gather more information about the behaviors of specific mosquitoes and their preferred egg-laying spots. Some scientists are also looking into genetic modification as a way to control mosquito populations. By releasing sterile males into an area, they could significantly reduce or even wipe out future generations of mosquitoes. However, this method is still under investigation to ensure that a sharp decline in mosquito numbers doesn't lead to unforeseen ecological issues. Another promising tactic involves infecting mosquitoes with a bacterium that can eliminate the viruses they might carry. This method has been successfully implemented in Southeast Asia and Australia to reduce dengue transmission rates. Experts emphasize that more strategies like these are essential for fully understanding and managing mosquitoes and the diseases they transmit. To tackle mosquito-borne diseases before they escalate, we need to increase public health funding for mosquito surveillance, Sinis states. With climate change impacting many species, including mosquitoes, this knowledge is becoming increasingly vital. It's likely that mosquito-borne illnesses will worsen rather than improve. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more randomness.